In an accident while filming a television commercial in Los Angeles. Jackson, one of the world's most successful recording stars, whose latest album Thriller has sold over 20 million copies, was rushed to hospital after his hair caught fire. Doctors treated him for second-degree burns to his scalp, but said he was in a stable condition and not in any danger.
Hey guys! Today I want to dive into one of the most unique and complex chapters of Michael Jackson's life, the infamous Pepsi accident. It's like the ultimate plot twist in MJ's journey, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on this. Picture this: Michael Jackson, the king of pop himself, gearing up for a performance that would go down in history. But then, bam, everything goes haywire, and it's all because of a major goof-up in logistics and pyrotechnics. Can you imagine the chaos? Now, fast forward to today, nearly 40 years later, and we're still feeling the shockwaves of that moment. I mean, this accident wasn't just a blip on the radar. It literally changed the course of Michael Jackson's life forever. But here's the kicker. I'm not just here to talk about the accident itself. No. I want to dig deeper and uncover the real story behind it all. Who's really to blame? How did this one mishap snowball into a series of health issues for Michael Jackson? So buckle up, folks, because we're about to embark on a wild ride through the highs and lows of MJ's journey, all centered around that fateful Pepsi accident. Let's get into it. Alright, let's rewind back to late 1983, a time when Michael Jackson wasn't just a music icon. He was a global phenomenon. With the release of Thriller and its groundbreaking music video, MJ catapulted to even greater heights of fame. I'm talking about Michael Mania, folks. Michael Jackson fever was sweeping the globe. People weren't just buying his records, they were devouring everything MJ related. From sweets to clothes to accessories, you name it. If it had Michael's name on it, it was flying off the shelves. But MJ wasn't content to just rest on his fame. Oh no, he had bigger plans in mind. After the epic Jackson family comeback at the Motown 25 special, it was the perfect time for the Jackson brothers to join forces once again. And thus, the Victory Project was born, a new album and an upcoming tour that had fans buzzing with excitement. Can you imagine the anticipation? The energy in the air was electric as fans eagerly awaited the next chapter in the Michael Jackson saga. The Jackson family had a big idea. They wanted to get the band back together for a new album and tour. Why? Well, not only did they miss making music, but they also saw this as a chance to ride the wave of Michael's huge popularity. But hold up! Michael had different plans. He was all about going solo with his smash hit Thriller album. Can you blame him? That album was on fire. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Despite Michael's solo dreams, his mom, Catherine, and the rest of the fam convinced him to join their project to help out the family. So, even though he wasn't totally on board, Michael agreed to make what would turn out to be his final album with his brothers. So, as the Jacksons were getting ready to release their Victory album and go on a big tour, they needed to secure some big sponsors to help fund and hype up the new album and tour. At first, they were thinking about teaming up with Quaker Oats, but their promoter, Don King, had a better idea. Back in the 80s, Pepsi and Coca-Cola were like the biggest rivals in the soda game, battling it out for the top spot, but Pepsi wasn't backing down. They were ready to take on Coke and score big with the Jacksons on their team. Pepsi was struggling to outshine their competition, but then Don King swooped in with a genius idea. He made Pepsi see the superstar potential in Michael Jackson. So Pepsi decided to make Michael the face of their brand, signing him and his brothers to a whopping $5 million deal. They cooked up a mega advertising strategy, producing 2 commercials set to premiere in February 1984. It was a game changer, becoming the priciest marketing campaign ever. And guess what? It was a win-win situation. Michael and his brothers got a massive boost in publicity, while Pepsi's soda sales shot through the roof. When it came to the Pepsi sponsorship campaign, Michael wasn't totally vibing with their original idea for the commercial. They wanted him to dance to a remix of Billie Jean while pushing their product. Even his friends like Paul McCartney and Jane Fonda thought it was a bad move. They felt it would cheapen his image. So Michael came up with a different game plan. He wanted to keep it short and sweet, just 4 seconds of him on screen in each commercial. Michael was all about the mystery vibe for the Pepsi commercials. He wanted to keep people guessing and intrigued, so instead of showing his face all the time, he focused on his iconic symbols: the glove, the shoes, that silhouette that screamed MJ. It was all about building hype and leaving fans wanting more. Before the cameras started rolling for those Pepsi commercials, safety was a major concern. Michael Jackson wasn't about to risk anyone's well-being. He insisted on every aspect being perfectly secure. That meant bringing in a pyrotechnics specialist to handle the explosions and ensuring the music was played live during filming. Michael was all about perfection, and he took charge to make sure every scene was flawless and safe for everyone involved. On that fateful day, January 27, 1984, the moment finally came to film the commercial. And the place chosen to film the commercial was the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, California, which was not only the place where the Jackson family had been doing concerts for years, but it was the place where Michael and his brothers participated in the 26th Annual Grammy Awards. As the day unfolded, Michael arrived at the Shrine Auditorium to kick off filming for Pepsi's first commercial. The plan was to feature the original version of Billie Jean, but as filming progressed, things took an unexpected turn. Just as the explosion was supposed to go off, it happened earlier than planned, catching Michael's hair on fire. It was a shocking moment that no one saw coming. The accident happened so suddenly that Michael didn't have a chance to react. Michael was suddenly on fire, calling out desperately for help. Luckily, his brothers and some dancers were there and quickly came to help. They tried to put out the fire using whatever they could find. Despite their efforts, Michael suffered severe burns on his scalp from the explosion, leaving him with third-degree burns in that area. It was a terrifying moment that happened in the blink of an eye. Even though they managed to put out the fire fast, the whole place went wild. Screens lit up with shocking messages and fans started yelling, "Michael Jackson's been shot! Michael Jackson's gone!" It was total chaos. In shock and screaming in pain, Jackson was swiftly escorted off stage and rushed to the hospital. Making light of the incident, Jackson later wrote in his autobiography, "Moonwalk. I never thought I'd ride in an ambulance with the sirens wailing. It was one of those things I'd always wanted to do." Jackson was then wheeled off the ambulance, swathed in bandages, with only his spangled glove showing. While at Memorial Hospital, Michael Jackson received treatment for a palm-sized patch of second and third-degree burns on his scalp. Jackson was reported to be in intense pain and stayed up until 1 a.m. that night in the burns ward before eventually falling asleep. When Michael's mom heard about what happened to her son, she was not just angry, she was furious. She immediately got a lawyer to file a lawsuit against Pepsi, and it wasn't just because of what happened to Michael, but also because of how it could impact his career. More than 200 calls a minute flooded the switchboard at the hospital in the Los Angeles suburb of Culver City, with eager fans pouring into the hospital in hopes of catching a glimpse of Michael Jackson. His plastic surgeon and personal physician, Dr. Stephen Hoffman, held press conference, revealing that Jackson still experienced discomfort from the burns and might face some permanent hair loss. He also mentioned that Jackson would likely remain in the hospital for a day or two for observation. Despite still being shaken by the accident, Michael happily joked with his doctors, even agreeing to take pictures with medical staff and other patients. He was photographed wearing hospital scrubs, but his signature rhinestone glove remained intact. Jackson left the hospital in a wheelchair around noon the following day. Despite the incident being treated lightly in the press, Jackson had sustained serious injuries, and his recovery was anticipated to be long and painful. He expressed being deeply hurt by jokes about his Jerry curl and vehemently denied that hair lotion caused the blaze. Jackson was also angry about how the situation was handled. Bob Giraldi, the director of the filming project, revealed that the accident marked the end of his working relationship with the star. He remembers the moment of the accident vividly and partly attributed it to tension between Jackson and the advertising executives. Alan Patish, Pepsi's vice president for creative services, expressed regret, stating, "We wish it had never happened." Initially, Jackson threatened to sue Pepsi, but he backed off when the company agreed to pay him $1.5 million on top of his $700,000 fee. He donated this money to the hospital that treated him, allowing them to build a new burns unit named the Michael Jackson Burn Center. According to his makeup artist, Michael Jackson experienced severe migraines after the accident, requiring strong pain medication to cope. Some speculate that the intense pain he endured during this time might have kick-started the prescription painkiller addiction that later contributed to his untimely death. After the accident, Michael Jackson was prescribed powerful sedatives to help him calm down and get some rest. It was clear that the incident had deeply affected him. The intense pain he felt served as a constant reminder of what had happened, and it made him realize the dangers of trusting others too much and being vulnerable. With a big concert tour on the horizon for the summer, Michael Jackson started getting really anxious about his health. Even though the tour promised big bucks, there were also big risks involved. "I worry all the time," said Jackson's representative, John Branca. The Pepsi accident made everyone extra cautious. Planning a tour this big had to be perfect to avoid any problems. You see, the Jacksons tour wasn't just any regular tour, it was on a whole other level. With Michael's immense popularity, the stakes were through the roof. Every little hiccup was blown out of proportion, making even the smallest issues seem like major disasters. In conclusion, the Pepsi accident of 1984 marked a turning point in Michael Jackson's life and career. What started as a routine commercial shoot turned into a life-altering event that would haunt him for years to come. Not only did it leave him with physical scars, but it also accelerated a downward spiral of health issues and addiction. Despite the settlement and the fame, the accident's impact on Michael's well-being was profound, ultimately contributing to his tragic end. And that's a wrap on the story behind the Pepsi commercial that forever altered Michael Jackson's life. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more fascinating content on all things MJ. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember to keep the King of Pop's legacy alive.